Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast series for September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We're interviewing families and patients who have gone through childhood cancer. Our guest today is Heidi Bruno, mother of Holly. To start off, could you tell us about Holly?
Would love to. Thank you for asking. So Holly was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma when she was 8 years old. She was a very playful, fun, energetic, adventurous little girl who, even through her cancer treatment, still had so much adventure and really found the good and beautiful in life during those hard years of treatment.
Yeah. What was the cancer journey like?
Um, well, obviously, it's incredibly difficult. It took us about 3 weeks to figure out what was wrong with her. She had just some really bad pain on the side of her face. Um, and yeah, we went to probably 5 different doctors, all of which just couldn't, they kept thinking she just had an ear infection. So she had some really difficult weeks leading up to that, up to diagnosis. And then she went through 2.5 years of, well, one really intense year of treatment. And then she had a few months where we thought that she was cured of it, that it had gone away. And then it came back about 6 months later, and then another grueling 6 months of treatment before the treatment. They don't have very good treatments right now. And so it wasn't able to kill the tumor off. Um, so yeah, just a lot of months of being at the hospital every week, doing treatments that made her really sick, and then just trying to navigate a young life through all that. Trying to, she tried to go to school still. She tried to do what she could during that time to still live her little life that she clung to and wanted to enjoy. So she still went to dance classes and learned to play the piano and different, like, ukulele, and hung out with friends, did her best to live life still.
Do you think there's anything you would have done differently?
Oh, that's such a hard question um, to know how to answer. And um, definitely there are times I think about, like, it would have been, I wish things had been different. So Holly died of cancer when she was 10. And I wonder sometimes, had we tried different treatments, if we had started with chemo, because it makes a child so sick. And she was at a point where she wasn't really able to live a good life on these treatments that were not working. So for sure, I wonder, had we kept her on those treatments, but I don't know that that was the best, in her best interest, because it was making her so sick when she was, and it wasn't helping. So it's hard to know that there's so many, as a parent with a child with cancer, there's so many impossible decisions you have to make about what's best for the child. And um, so I try and live in a place where I feel like at the time we did everything that we could have at that time.
Could you tell us about Holly's words, love is everywhere, and how that impacted her life and everyone around her?
Yes, I would love to tell you about that. So when Holly was in her first week of treatment, she had just barely been diagnosed. So she had had those 3 really hard weeks of being in a lot of pain. And then um, and then was diagnosed with cancer. And we were in the hospital as they were doing all the tests. Once a child is through the diagnosis process, they have to do so many different tests just to know exactly what kind of cancer it is. and where it's at and what kind of treatment they needed for that. And so in those while we were in the hospital for that, she had a biopsy scheduled and she had to get a spinal tap. She just had a long list on the whiteboard of all the things that she still needed to have done in the hospital. And her family members and friends had come to visit her, and they had also added some love notes on that whiteboard. Just, we love you, Holly. We're thinking of you. And at some point, I don't know, I must have been in the hall having a conversation with the doctor, but Holly had unplugged her IV and walked over to the whiteboard and written the words "love is everywhere" on the whiteboard. And when I saw that later, I just felt this overwhelming gratitude for the power of love and how healing it was for her during that scary, hard experience she was dealing with, and that fact that she focused on love and saw and felt that love. And so we that just kind of became her mantra for the next years of treatment as we shared that message with other people. And in her elementary school, they tied ribbons on the fence outside the elementary school that said "love is everywhere," and kids at her school would write it on all their paper assignments. And then I had an opportunity to be on a podcast during her treatments, where thousands of people heard it and were hashtagging the words "love is everywhere," and it really, people all over the world saw Holly in her struggles, and then also saw that power of love and how it helped her. And that really sustained Holly through these impossibly difficult, and our whole family, just as we looked for the good in the world and the love in the world, and um how powerful that was for her during those hard times. So it yeah, it changed our lives for sure, to look at it, to try and see the good during that hard time.
I think that's really special.
Thank you.
And that kind of leads me into your book, which is a
Yeah,
memoir. So could you
yeah,
tell us about that?
yeah, absolutely. So I um I think Holly's life was so beautiful. It was also so short. And I just felt a strong need for other people to know about her, and to know, even though her life was just only 10 years, I feel like her story can impact and change people's lives as we navigate the hard things in our life. And so I wanted to share all those moments of love, the hard and the beautiful, and how they can go together. And I also shared part of it was um, I have a little bit about CCTDI and the involvement we had with Dr. Keller. And Holly had, when her tumor metastasized, we had it taken out and donated it to the lab to hopefully do research so that they can get better cures for kids with rhabdo. There's just not a whole lot of updated treatments for that. And so part of it also is just to bring awareness to cancer, the cancer journey, and what these kids go through. It's pretty horrific. And also these having had a child with cancer, I got to know a lot of other children with cancer, and they are amazing humans. Um, and I think the world needs to know them. And so this was writing a book about Holly. I just gives other people the opportunity to know her and know her strength, and gain strength from that, and also be able to hopefully make it through their harder things um, in similar ways as Holly did.
Yeah, I like that. So what are the next steps and how will you and your family continue honoring Holly?
I just imagined we will talk about her forever and share, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to take a minute to share her with you, and I want to share her with as many people as I can. And we're also involved, very involved in our local cancer community still. We volunteer at a cancer camp and just helping these kids feel that love that we felt. We're trying to give back the way people did for us, the things that people did to help us feel supported and loved in this journey. So I imagine we'll do that forever, and just, yeah, bringing awareness on my social media posts, just reminding people that, how childhood cancer, I just didn't even about cancer much at all before my daughter was diagnosed. And then once I entered that world, I realized how hard and painful it is, how little funding there is for it, um, and just more awareness.
Yeah. That's the end of our questions. Do you have anything
Okay.
else you'd like to share?
I don't think so. I just love that what you're doing and the ways you're trying to also bring awareness to childhood cancer. And um, thank you for letting me take this minute to talk about my little warrior, Holly. I appreciate it.
Thank you.